Liquid's here too. Always a lot of fun, and yeah, I do believe we're ready to go. Once again, I'm Llama Down Under. I'm going to be joined by the Wonder Cow, who I've actually left unmuted this whole time, so I'm very glad you weren't making any noise.
You know what? That is the double mute solution.
Excellent.
Always fixes it.
Yep. So we were I'm pretty excited to get to coast this one. Other than through the open qualifiers, haven't coasted too much state gaming, and of course Liquid's always a pleasure to coast, but after last game, I don't know how much of that you caught, Gorgon. Did you see what Liquid did last set?
I caught nothing of the last game. I was too busy writing. So.
They picked a support lifestealer, which, you know, that's a choice in of itself.
That's a choice, yeah.
Then he got a Radiance. Was no longer a support lifestealer. It was special.
Wait,
it was...
what time did the Radiance come? Like a
not...
support lifestealer Radiance, or was did he get some farm?
Right, he got some farm. There were kills to be had, but you know, I'm doing like what you're saying. I'm watching the Dota on the side. Here, Cap and Toby making some jokes about support lifestealer. I'm like, okay, there's a support lifestealer. Here, Cap and Toby make some jokes about a Radiance. There's a Radiance. It was very interesting, but we're in a different game entirely. We'll see if Stake can do something. And we have a lot of bans and picks flying out. Stake get the Invoker, but of course lose out on the Dogs here and Gyro. A little surprised that Team Liquid went with the Dogs here.
Well, it's out with the Gyrocopter very well. It's a nice semi-ish counter to a lot of your late game DPSers, including to some degree the Invoker. Been rising in popularity since I want to say October, maybe even a little earlier than that. Even through late 684, he started to get a bit of a boost, and it's been rocky for him, but he's still on the rise.
Yeah, and it's not that Doxy is bad by any means. I'm just wondering if they prioritize him over maybe some of these other strong supports we've been seeing come out, like the Tusk. I believe Team Liquid, they used to, maybe not so true on this patch, but they on 6.85 I think had a 80% win rate on Tusk, whether it was played support or off lane. So
yeah, and they do very frequently pick up Tusk for their first. In about half of their games, their first pick is Tusk. They, though, when they do have that Darkseer now, it's often an early ban. So lately, in their last 5 or 6 games, we've been seeing a lot of first-round picks on the Darkseer for Team Liquid. So it seems to be something that they are keen on experimenting with.
Yeah, and I think it's always nice to make sure. I mean, when you look at State Gaming's bans, both of these are Forta bans, but also Forta has this nasty habit of, even if you shut him down a bit, he's just very consistent. He'll find a way to get the farm, and he maybe won't be making the flashy plays, but he'll come back and bite you in the rear for getting consistent farm. But Lone Druid ban out as well. And there it is, finally. Finally, the Earth Spirit.
Earth Spirit is one of 3 heroes this patch that and on average in the first ban phase, so to see him go all the way to the end out of ban orb is kind of weird.
I think
10 seconds remaining.
I think this past star ladder, a lot of people are thinking they know what to do with the Earth Spirit, but also maybe Team Liquid deciding it can wait, they want other things. I feel like we've talked about it yesterday and the day before. This patch seems a lot more open with how you can draft it. And for example, we were seeing, I think, all of yesterday Venge in the first 2 picks, and now she comes out, the 3rd pick here, wasn't banned, and a Dazzle.
Yeah, a lot of that does come down to there hasn't been a tremendous number of Class A events that have all of the world's best so far this patch either. Had the Summit, which had a lot of the world's best teams, Star Ladder I-League, right? But other than that, you haven't seen a whole lot of activities. There's been a lot of tournaments like WePlay that get a wide range of teams together, and that doesn't really give you the same meta formation that you'll get when you get top 12 teams and together. So I would honestly expect to remain relatively fluid all the way up until the going to see presumably some more hard patterns.
Yeah, and we're seeing the Puck from Team Liquid. This is another hero that it's been shown can have a huge amount of impact. Liquid did just play it in their last game, but I'd be interested. Obviously, it's something, it can be a solid pickup, but I also wonder if they're trying to use some of these games as kind of practice, because it's nothing, you can scrim all you want, but nothing beats playing against people on a hero that you want to make sure you get more practice on in an official match.
Yeah, especially this is a best of one, so they kind of just, they can afford to have a couple big games, and is not a tremendously popular hero, but he is a hero that is growing in popularity. If you are Team Liquid and you want to try out the puck strategy, WePlay is a great place. Not only are you going to go up against opponents that are not as experienced as you, but also opponents that are highly ranked as you, such as State Gaming. So I totally agree. It seems like a good strategy to go with a hero that you want to improve on games like this.
Turn to ban.
And Stake counter with the Disruptor. There's a couple of nice heroes for this Disruptor to counter. Obviously, the big one is the Darkseer. Also, if bench swap someone to safety, you can glimpse them back in. Although the reverse of that, of course, is if you glimpse someone back, Avenge might swap them. But it does seem like a nice all-around pick here. It just does feel that State Gaming is a little bit light on Shore Lockdown. You've got a bunch of stuff from Invoker. You've got the Lasso from Batrider, but kind of nothing else.
The other thing is that they don't really have a lot of health, right? Invoker has regen, but in terms of just sheer ability to stand up and face tank, the right clicks that are going to be coming out from Darkseer illusions, from the Gyrocopter, and from the Vengeance Aura, making everybody just have greater damage output. Their overall HP are pretty slim. I would expect a farming carry that has a decent HP pool to come out, something maybe like a Spectre.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like she's very strong right now. She's received a couple of buffs, although I would say they're buffs. It's the lifesteal. Okay, so
hey, why not? Did they win that last game?
Yeah. Oh, yes. They gave up some kills, but they still won it. They were in control, I would say, for most of the game. From what I saw, albeit as I said, I was watching it in the background, but it looks to be a support lifestealer again. Yeah. I would assume, and they also I've seen Liquid run before a support Darkseer, but I have to assume it's the support lifestealer. You know, just gotta keep practicing that strat.
10 seconds
they did just run it, right? So it's reasonable to assume that they're going to run it again.
It's warmed up.
Yeah, exactly. Warmed up, and once again, that comes down to what we were just saying. If you've got something that you kind of want to try out, it's better to try it out in something like WePlay than it is to try it out in scrims, because they don't play the same way in scrims that they will play against.
Yeah, so either way, it's going to be good. We get a Weaver. This is an interesting one. I feel like Weaver is a kind of popular hero. Depends. It's very player-based, it feels like. There are some players who love her. Him. Yeah. Sorry, I think Weaver's a chick.
I don't just go any which way on the Weaver. Weaver is sort of played a little bit, almost entirely in that last pick, so very situational grab. I don't think this is the situation. Not only do you have some hard stun action coming out of the Venge, and some silence coming out of the puck, but life on this. Weaver is slippery. If you do get your hands on her, not stand up very well.
Remaining.
Yeah, I'm actually just restarting the stream really quickly because we were having some lagging. So hopefully that'll fix it. If OBS will actually let me come back. OBS, please. Okay, we're gonna have a short picnic. I realize that only the people in Dota TV can... Oh, there we go. Let's see if restarting helps. If restarting doesn't help, I will try something really quickly. I'll do a big restart, and hopefully we won't miss too much, or I'll do a restart in between games if it's still problematic.
Yeah, this server is giving me a lag. I don't know if you're getting just lag on the stream, or if it's in...
I think it was I'd been uploading videos all day, and so I think it had maybe been a bit of me. There we go. It looks like we're doing better. I just had to drop our frames. Sorry, folks. Slightly less frames unpicnicked, though. Let's get into it. Which side would you like to introduce?
All right, well, I will take State Gaming, as we have the Weaver already coming out and scouting out the Radiant Jungle. That's going to be Era bugging out. We've got Cinderin burning it up on the Batrider. Fogged is going to be playing the Disruptor. Seal Kid is going to be on that Dazzle, and Invoker is going to be played by Slicks.
Yeah, and on Liquid, we'll be seeing Kuroki on that support lifestealer. We'll see how it goes. He went straight Iron Talon. That's a lot of fun. We'll also be seeing Fodder on the puck. Venge is going to be played by Jerax. Mind Control on the Darkseer, and finally Gyrocopter by Matumba Man, who is looking very confident. He has played a lot of Gyrocopter.
Yes, and he's pretty good at it too, especially relative to his peerage, his overall, the skill level of the people that he tends to trade games with. He does very, very well on that. Probably not a hero that you necessarily want to let through if you're stick.
Yeah. So we'll see exactly how it goes. I'm really interested to see about this mid matchup. Also, actually, I'm going to check something really quickly because I do wonder what is... Okay, I don't know where Slicks is playing from, because I was under the impression Slicks is an Australian player, one of our only. So he appears to have very low ping though, so he must be playing from somewhere in Europe, or has the world's best internet connection.
He is an Australian player, but I think when they started State Gaming, started up.
Yeah.
Positive, but I remember having that same question when they announced the roster. Like, how is he going to be playing Australia for European tournaments? That's not going to...
Yeah. By the way, it'll be going well. We have Kuroki jungling. We have Mind Control getting zoned a little bit. What I'm really interested to see here is there's going to be... Oh yeah. Cinderon's in a little bit of trouble. He should be able to bone it off. Looking like it.
Just fly it off, kid. Fly it off. It's no big deal. Yeah, that was a magic missile stun into the rocket barrage, and you can just see how much that hurts. He can't really be caught that far forward again.
Yeah, and I'm just checking on stream stuff because it tells me I'm live, but I don't see it as live, so I'm going to let you talk a little bit, Gorgon. Who do you think is going to... I mean, obviously Liquid gets a nice fun advantage here of having extra experience everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. The advantage to having a jungler, and this appears to be a straight-up jungle lifestealer rather than semi-support lifestealer, though that could always switch over later. The advantage to that is that you'll come into mid-game a little bit stronger if your opponents don't aggressively move.
From the tempest of battle.
Right now, the Bat Rider hasn't really had much success being that aggressive in his movement, and the supports haven't really been able to rotate out as well. So for Liquid, they are definitely maximizing their farm out of the... And for State Gaming, it really seems to be a course where they need to open up space for aggressive maneuvers and really kind of shove this jungler into Liquid space and punish them for the decision. As we move in, Iron Talon doing work there for the Lifestealer. Gyrocopter is on top of the last hits and denies. And Cinderin on the Bat Rider continues to try to play as cheekily as he can up here in the top lane. Doing a fairly good job of grabbing his experience and trying to contest. He is playing a very dangerous game.
Yeah, and folks, we should be back hopefully in 2 minutes. Joys of having to restart Twitch stuff. And
this is why you buy the in-game ticket, kids. little WePlay pug.
There's a couple different things going on. Hopefully we'll be back in just 2 minutes. So we'll be seeing in this mid lane, it does look like Puck has a little bit of an advantage, but it's relatively even. We'll see how it pans out as things continue. To me, the big thing here is Kuroki is just having the time of his life in the jungle. He's going to be out-leveling the other supports, of course. You know, he's already level 4. Whenever he decides to come out, if he does what he did last game, where I think he picked up an Ancient Creep and was just harassing everything out of other people.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Especially if you are in the jungle, right? As this you mentioned Kuroki is. He's not really going to come in with a tremendous amount of... Oh, actually, we got to come back to this, because Jerax is being hunted down by Cinderin.
Yeah, he's got a couple of stacks on him. He manages to dodge the Sunstrike, but now here comes the Invoker coming in with that Cold Snap. This should be her first blood. Fodder trying to do what he can. If he could get the turnaround on Slicks, that would be pretty big. A few more auto attacks. He misses one uphill. He needs one after this, but the Fairy Fire coming out from Slicks. And now Fodder pushed back, but here comes Kuroki saying, "Don't you bully my Puck." And that'll be that.
It's a nice little rotation from Kuroki. You know, he took the time to come out of the jungle, make sure everybody's okay. May have cost him a touch of farm, but is the right way to run a jungler, right? Still, you have to be active and aware of what's going on. You can't AFK at the... Come out 20 minutes later, your team is just going to get thrashed.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm still doing technical troubleshooting, so I'm going to let you talk some more.
As we go through here, Invoker actually taking the time to grab himself a ward for this mid lane, give himself the high ground vision over the nighttime, and be able to harass that Puck out a bit. he is doing pretty well, especially considering the early game shenanigans we just saw with that Batrider coming out and harassing him, but he is starting to fall pretty far behind that puck.
And there we go, we're back. Yeah, okay, so as you said, Invoker falling behind on puck, even with that first blood. And to me, the scary part is Kuroki hasn't been having any impact anywhere on the map, and, you know, they're still feeling the pressure.
Yeah, he had exactly as much impact as he could scare his opponents. This triple stack, part of it just got stolen by puck as well.
Yeah.
Big part, as you know, it's the creeps that you really wanted there did not go to the Batrider, which
Cool, Seal Kid. Yeah, he's gonna go for the TP, but there's a magic missile at the ready. Jerax being a little rude there. I mean, he's making sure that the shallow grave doesn't take too long, but he could have stopped the TP anytime. Seal Kid would be dead.
He waited a bit. I think maybe he was hoping to save the mana, but either way, they end up grabbing that kill, evening it out. I'm not entirely sure why he would have deep, but
it's from the contesting when they contested the hard camp.
But the puck used the illusory orb to test that camp at the very end from the other side of the tree. I don't think anybody really needed to charge high ground there. Right? He kind of went up there alone. I don't know. It seemed like a maybe slightly over-aggressive play to me.
And yeah, for the catch back folks up, although this will be told, we're having a glimpse back in mid fodder. He manages to drop the Dream Coil. They only had the auto attacks. He phase shifts a bunch of them, but one more will get him. A really nice play there coming out of Fog. Catching out the puck, and this is what they need. We talked about it. You got to take advantage of the fact that there is one support not on the map, the Lifestealer, who can't TP in and save people.
Yeah, he's got a headdress as well, so it looks like he's going into a Vlad's. That early damage aura as well as the early lifesteal to help push. It's not terrible, and he's going to jump into the Ancient Black Dragon, which was actually saved for him. This time somebody came through and clear out the creeps. It's
what they did, I think, last game. Ancient Black Dragon OP, yo. It actually, the Fireball is a mini macro fire. If you can use it to push waves, but even without that, if you can lock somebody in it for a little bit, it does huge amounts of damage, and they have a magic missile. So here comes Kuro.
It's 850 damage total over 10. So if you can land one of those that even lasts a decent fraction full duration, there's not a lot of heroes that can stand up to it at 7 minutes.
Definitely, and we'll see. Kuro right now is just actually coming to have some presence in the bottom lane. Of course, Mind Control had been forced out of the lane. He is only level 3, but that's about all for Liquid's casualties in this this jungling support Lifestealer. The fact that they're not super behind when it comes to either experience or gold, I think is really impressive, because they are playing a support down, basically.
Yeah, but to be fair, they are max.
The Dream Coil onto Fogged. I don't think there's a great way for the Disruptor to get away. He'll try, but the cooldown. Nice attempt there, but a really nice play by Puck, seeing an easy kill and making sure they get it. And now they're stealing the stacks from Cinder, and Cinder's gonna come in here and try and look pretty, but there's Kuro zoning him with the Black Dragon.
Poor Cinderin cannot catch a break on these stacks, man. His off-lane hard camp stolen. He gets his camp and his own jungle stolen. Presumably this is going to be a tower as well, and Weaver is probably going to have to get himself away here. He does have time lapse, so he should be fine.
It's really rough. I feel that Synderen has his work cut out for him. He, of course, once he has that blink, he can be much more effective, and there's a lot of nice heroes to pick off here, but until then, he's just got to play it safe.
Black Dragon has so much mana, right? It can cast that thing 5 times straight, not including any pass.
Radiant structures are fortified.
That's insane.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That mana pool needs to drop down in one of the sub patches. It really does.
We'll see. It does feel like a lot of the patches, or the last patch, did buff the jungle a significant amount, and we'll see what the exact whether it gets nerfed in a subsequent patch. I'm not sure. I assume there'll be a patch after the Shanghai Major.
Yeah, there should be 7 or whatever. Usually they've been rotating them after Major. We might see a small sub patch before the Major as well. There's still a bit of time. They often like to do about weeks before the Major actually goes off. They like to do a slight little bounce. Same thing for TIs in the past.
So we'll be seeing Era trying to give Jerax a little bit of the swarm. He gets stunned out here. Who's coming in? It's going to be Puck. Era does get off the Sakuchi in time and should be fine here. He's just kind of having to play around. He is under a sentry. The Courier. Courier's going to move. Get that Zebra away. Okay, I didn't know the Zebra counted as a unit for the heal. That's fun.
Huh. Yeah, that is interesting. I also did not know that. Oh, you learn something new every day. Courier counts toward Dazzle. Just fly it in, just buy a bunch of them and you get instant nuke. New pub strategy. Buy 4 of them for the game and you just fly it around under Shadow Blade.
Oh, we're gonna have the glimpse back, but of course you can use that illusory orb to jump away at any time. So, and Kuro is out of one Black Dragon, but ready to hop into another if he so chooses. Oh yeah, he does. So,
he couldn't be getting luckier with these ancient spawns. There's always a Black Dragon available for him. His team is just about done pushing tower in as well. So even if the Dire do, and they will lose their top, they should be up tower here pretty soon.
Yeah. So looking around, the Midas is up on Invoker. It doesn't look like we have... Oh, Synderen actually has more than enough money to buy the Blink. I think he wants it from the side shop, so he's greedily farming a little... Oh, as I say that, picks it up from home.
And we just saw the Helm of the Dominator get purchased by Matumpa Man on the Gyrocopter as well. He's going to be out on the Courier as we speak.
Yeah, and we will... Okay, thank you, camera. Oh, I hear Puck using that ult again on Fogged. Fogged can't catch a break here. He's gonna drop the kinetic field, but end up going down to the Rocket Barrage. So, Liquid score themselves another kill.
Discipline. Once he got caught out there, it's tempting to throw down the kinetic field and also the Static Storm and try to use the silence to get away. There was no getting away there, and really, like I said, good discipline to just save the cooldown timer.
And with these little skirmishes, Liquid is starting to pull ahead in gold and experience. I'm impressed, given that they had the jungling lifestealer, but right now, I guess that time of the game is over. He's got the Vlads up, he can be in birds pushing towers.
Yeah, and why not, right? He's got really nowhere else to be, and he's still getting a bit of experience. There's no reaction coming out as well, so not.
Yeah. So, Synderen has the Blink. We'll see what the first play will be there. He's also picked up a Smoke, which has been used. They're acting like they want to go in the middle. If he can pick out, he should know which one is the right fodder now. He's pinged it. He's got the lasso. They're gripping him backwards. But there is the swap. The hard counter to the Batrider coming out. And unfortunately, it being nighttime, Synderen didn't have vision of the Venge.
Do you remember if that Batrider was picked into the Venge, or if the Venge was picked into Batrider?
The first pick was Invoker, and then the Venge was picked. Right?
Okay,
so it was picked into the Venge. No, the Venge was third pick. You're right. The Venge was third pick.
So the
first pick was Invoker. Bat was one of the first or second picks. I was maybe second after the Invoker. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, that's exactly. Invoker, Batrider, Dazzled. So, interesting confidence from State Gaming to not ban out, right? The hard counter of the swap to the.
I think maybe just worried about some other heroes more. You know, we've seen it time and time again. Depending on what team you're going up against, you might feel that you need to ban everything. And Era's actually, he's farming okay. We can see he has good CS, he has decent farm, but there are so many wards around all the time that I think it's really hard to get anything done here as a Weaver.
Yeah, well, it's not the stage in the game where the Weaver really shines, right? He is, like I said, he's slippery, but he's not particularly beefy. He goes down very quickly if you do get him locked in, and his damage output is not tremendous in the early game, with the exception of if he manages to get a decent one-on-one. You can get a pretty decent amount of negative armor from. If he can catch one person out, yeah, you could probably take that fight at this. But fighting into it or something like that just won't work until at least.
So what do you think is the game plan here then for State Gaming, right? It does feel like Slicks, he just purchased the full Yules, so maybe he'll try to get some single pickoffs. Obviously they have a lot of good single target kill potential with a Batrider and a Invoker. There's going to be a tiny glimpse. Fog again taking the Dream Coil. The Shallow Grave comes out. He is in a lot of trouble still, I think. Killed by the creeps. wasn't great.
Not sure why Seal Kid. He probably couldn't have saved him, but I'm not sure why Seal Kid opted to not drop Shadow there. They're both super low cooldown spells, but kind of leaving Disruptor to as maybe it's sort of like if I call the ambulance, you won't learn your lesson. You know?
I hope that's not how they treat Dota. We're gonna see a Yule's coming out onto Jerax, but no follow-up. And we need to talk about two things. Obviously, I want to get back to the earlier question, but looking at the map vision from the Dire, they have put down so many sentries. Radiant have 2 wards kind of deep, but like the Radiant basically have spent 3 sentries attempting to de-ward their jungle, and the Dire was just feeling comfortable in there before. I think they caught 1 ward with that.
Yeah, the other issue is that...
Oh, there's gonna be a glimpse back into Static Storm onto Fodder. Can they get enough damage before he gets out of there and is able to use spells? They blow him up. Now Kuroki in the Ancient Black Dragon is gonna fly away. So nice pick.
Yeah, that's great. That's exactly what they need. They also maybe...
Dire's middle tower
this bottom
is under
tower
attack.
already down below half health. I'm seems to be a lot of hedging on State Gaming's part. They don't seem to be willing to engage in a lot of these games, which makes them basically playing down a hero while
Radiant's
the Weaver
top
is still
tower
trying to get up.
attack.
But
Oh, we have a smoke. Synderen's going on a different target than the rest of them. They're going to end up picking off Matumba Man on one side, and now the drag back on Jerax. Jerax moving very fast for a second there. Can they catch her out? There is also mind control on the docks here, and now Fodder coming in, drops a big silence and a dream coil. This should set them up for a really nice wall vacuum, but mind control has no mana because he didn't go mana boots first. Still, they managed to pick off one. Will this help Synderen get away? No, the vacuum comes out. Synderen's going to be taking a lot of damage. If Era at the very least can get out, you can argue it's even. And yeah.
should be able to get away here. He's got to be able to be so. They don't have a ton of lock. They have enough lockdown to make it. He may even be going into a Desolate because of their. They have some stuff that might worry a Weaver, but it's not so much of it that he fight around the edges. If he does go into a Desolator, that would give them a lot more fight presence, but it would also be very, very risky. A single magic missile could be enough to destroy.
Yeah. It's really rough, I think, as Weaver as your carry. Not that there are easy solutions in Dota right now, but obviously the Weaver is very squishy, as you said, and he needs a while to get online.
Yeah, and Desolator will help him get online once again, especially for this like split push, old school oriented Weaver. But I don't normally see that as a standard build, and he is going to Deso. He just so he'll have that very shortly, and he should be able to go down a lane while the rest of his team kind of forces engagements around the map. Just not sure if he's going to be able to push fast enough in order to justify.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, especially, I think, to see the Weaver match up. Weaver running the Deso matching up against Matumba Man, who's just picked up, almost has the Sergeant Yasha finished. So, and now that Mind Control, he does have the Arcanes up, he has the mech, he can decide whether he wants to go Greaves or Blink next. I think either is really fine. Obviously, they already have the Blink up on Puck, which will help set up the Darkseer as well.
Early Greaves, normally not necessarily something that you need to rush, but in a case where your opponent's carry, the only thing he really has going for him is negative armor. Getting that extra armor in an aura it kind of shuts down that Weaver strategy. Gyrocopter's already sitting at 20 armor. Desolator is going to hurt him, but it's not going to hurt him to the same degree that you would normally expect.
Yeah. Joys of Agi carries.
Yeah, and not only that, but the just raw armor that goes from the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be rough either way. It will be difficult to take down the Gyrocopter one way or another, with Weaver being your primary source.
But I think there's still a lot State can do. We haven't seen, I think, Slicks used to his fullest extent yet. I definitely think, oh, we have an engagement up on top. It looks like Era manages to use that time lapse. He's still under the effects of the Dream Coil. He's visible now. He doesn't have... Oh, okay, Kuroki thought he went maybe the other way, but doesn't matter. Era gets picked off by Fodder. Jerax coming in just in case he needs to, and Jerax actually getting awfully close to a drum. It just feels like all across the map, we can see it in the net worth, but Liquid's just doing better everywhere. Oh,
Yeah.
as I say that though, we're gonna see, the nice swap coming out from Jerix. They're actually gonna glimpse Matumba Man back. There is the Static Storm coming down. Cinderin getting that Shallow Grave, gonna keep him alive. Can he find any more? He's already used that lasso. He can at least sticky napalm up. No, vacuum back before he can do anything. And that'll be that.
That's not a terrible trade for State Game. Considering they had already lost the Weaver and they weren't going to be able to defend, they're getting Matumba Man. It helps out a lot, and they ended up getting a lot more gold just because of the way that back mechanics.
On the other hand, Kuroki has a Sacred Relic.
Because, you know, why not? Why fix what ain't broke, right? Goes into the Vlads and then into the Radiance. The interesting thing about the Radiance here is that it really, really will shut down that Weaver, who got a Desolator for his right click. That's all he really... And the mischance out of that Radiance is going to either make it so that the Weaver has to rush a Monkey Bar, or the Weaver is ineffective out these fights. What you want to be dealing with.
And speaking of ineffective, blown up is Era on the bottom there. We're seeing a Dagon out on the puck. She is being tossed up in the air. We'll see if they can bring down this puck, but a beautiful swap again from Jerix. The glimpse back, that doesn't seem to matter too much. Fodder still doing a lot of damage, is now stuck in the trees actually, but they see you. Fodder, can they bring her down on that puck? It's looking like Fodder up in the air again. It's living on 4 health. Is Fodder really gonna get out of this one? Okay.
That's gotta sting a little bit.
Yeah. Matumba Man just came in and cleaned up the rest of the team that was trying to get Fodder, so...
Yeah, and once again, that Weaver going down very early in that fight because he doesn't have the life force survivability to deal with single Dream Coil, let alone the Dagon as well. Just... Weaver's not designed as her to be dealing with that.
Yep, we're gonna be seeing a lasso. There is no bench right now, so maybe Eric can actually get Matumba Man, but they are barely tickling him. You talked about this armor. Eric's trying his best, but I don't know if it'll be enough. Throwing out a few more auto attacks, looking like he might need 6 more, and actually gonna be just chased off by that homing missile.
Poor Weaver, he's just completely effective here. It's not like... I mean, he didn't farm tremendously well, but considering his opponents have a massive gold advantage, hours kills. Just a casual Dagon kill there.
Yeah, Fodder really taking advantage of this small health pool on the Weaver, as you said.
I mean, Weaver is still on top of what's his 376, considering how far behind they are. That's not totally awful.
Well, it was a lot better before these two
Right.
quick kills in succession. I'm pretty sure he was over 400, as you said. Considering how far behind they are, it's not atrocious. Right now it is. We've now got Kuroki being a real pain to all of them inside of the ancient granite golem. And also Gyro's going to be picking up an Aegis. It's looking rough.
Problem is, Weaver doesn't have the flash farm capability back from an ineffective first item choice. He can't go out and get farm here right now. There's just no way he can do it safely. So they basically, State Gaming has to buy the time for Weaver to get farm as it's brought to them through the lanes to the base. Tremendous amount of time, and I just don't think they have that kind of time available to them. How do you think they're going to try to scale this out? Is it just take a team fight based on a tornado and hope for the best, or
I think they have to just try to defend high ground. I think that's kind of all they've got going for them. They do have some nice stuff like Static Storm. The Bat Rider can pull people in. Slick should have some funky stuff coming out of that Invoker. We'll see whether he can do any of it, but instead Fodder with the silence opens up, manages to orb away. Slick's blown up by the flag cannon coming out of Matumba Man. He didn't have a second to respond there, and with nothing, I mean, this is the problem with the Disruptor. He has no way of actually stopping this aggression. What's he gonna do? And speaking of what's he gonna do, he's gonna be vacuumed back. We're gonna see people being blown up. Fog is gonna walk sadly away. Will he fall to their auto attacks? They decide to let him live this time, and while Cinderin is trying to make something happen on the top lane, he's just not in base. I think he has his full staff up. I'm not sure it does anything at this point in the game.
We're looking at closing in on 1,000 gold.
We have pulled someone into the fountain. We've pulled Puck into the fountain as he was shopping for his Dagon, so that's something.
It's a small consolation for their racks. That one kill was worth 1,400 gold, so
Yeah.
it's not a good statement toward your chances for success when 1,400 gold swing at 24 minutes is all consolation.
I definitely think, obviously we're again in the state where it feels like it's Liquid's game to lose. Oh, we're seeing Slicks go invisible. But it also just feels like, despite having a support in the jungle, I haven't actually been keeping good track of whether Kuro is actually helping out with wards at all, or whether they're really running a solo Jerax support. But despite that, Jerax has been able to get a ridiculous number of wards. There have been sentries all over the map.
I think that this is pretty much, we're in jungle carry to classify this lifestealer.
And I think a more obviously State Gaming's a newer team, and I wonder whether this lineup that Liquid's trying out here, that they've been trying out in a few games, would work against a more disciplined team.
If you run it up against more experienced, higher ranked team, run it up against your EG, your Secret, your OG, somebody like that, I think the early game aggression that those teams tend to bring would make it much more difficult.
Someone's being blown up over here by Fodder. We can hear it, but maybe they'll get the return kill. Fodder using that phase shift. Is he going to be able to blink away? There's a bug on him. He manages to illusory orb and dodge the attacks, and another dodge. Let's see if when he comes out of it, he is blown up by the Sunstrike, but now here comes Matumba Man. He is going in on folks. Seal Kid explodes. A gem pops out of him, and that's horrible. That's the transfer over the gem that they've needed so much. Trying to get back some semblance of map control.
Going to be this far behind. At least being this far behind with a vision advantage gives you some ability to really do anything. But like you said, there's no semblance of map control without that gem. And the Radiant jungle is so heavily skewed toward the Dire invasion. There's such a disadvantage there inherently from behind. Once again, I'm just not sure what the play is if you don't have that gem, if you don't have any real control over what's going on.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only buyback is on Slicks, so Slicks needs to make something happen here if he can. But it looks like they're going to be glyphing it up. Let's see. They've got a couple of big potential plays. They've got a lasso. Of course, they have to catch up Jerax, or they're just going to get swapped. And instead, Matumba Man takes their melee racks, looking like he's going to back on out. Oh, there's the blink in 2 through the vacuum wall. Also, now there's going to be a big cooldown. Hits on 3. Doesn't even matter. Kills them all. Slicks could buy back here, but I'm not sure if they'll buy back or just call it, and there's the GG.
Yeah, at this stage, there's not a lot they can do. They fought admirably for a while into a pretty significant deficit. Like I said, they're closing in on 1,000 gold per minute deficit.
Yeah, it was a rough one, but I think State Gaming still, showed us that they had some good coordination areas. I think just a little outplayed.
Yeah.
To be honest. And the Venge pick into the bat, right? There were also some issues where I think the bat smoked up